Hello friends. This isn't usually how we start the video, but I just want to take a moment to talk with you all before the video starts. Earlier this week, on October 1st, 2017, Las Vegas, Nevada was the scene of the worst mass shooting in U.S. history. The case I'm about to present to you is another injustice committed in the Las Vegas area, and I began working on this video before the events of October 1st. It is purely by coincidence that they are from the same area, though my heart aches for both tragedies. The saying goes, what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas, but in 1980, just outside Sin City in Henderson, Nevada, a young girl was found murdered, naked, and alone on the side of a rural road. Today, October 5th, 2017, marks the 37th year anniversary of Arroyo Grande Jane Doe's discovery, and she remains nameless. October 5th, 1980. Off-duty Henderson police officer John Williams takes a Sunday night drive with his brother along a rural Henderson road. At approximately 9:20 p.m., they near the intersection of Arroyo Grande Boulevard and Lake Mead Parkway. Present day, the area is commercialized, but in 1980, it was deserted. Suddenly, something catches John's eye. The body of a young girl on the side of the road, unclothed and face down in a, quote, posed position. John contacts his fellow officers at Henderson PD, and soon, law enforcement is at the horrific scene. Upon first observation, detectives realized the young girl's end was no accident. She sported lacerations to the scalp and showed signs of blunt force trauma to her head. According to John Williams, it was believed these injuries were caused by a roof framing hammer. However, that was just the beginning of her suffering. She was also severely and extensively beaten in the face, Williams says, apparently with fists, so badly that one of her teeth was knocked out. But the killing blows belonged to another injury set, the 6 to 7 stab wounds dotting her head and upper left back. Reports claim it was a two-pronged instrument with a blade approximately 3 inches long. One early report claimed that it was an ice pick, but more recent documentation says the murder weapon hasn't been pinpointed. Near the girl's body was part of a yellowish-orange shower curtain, but no other evidence was found. Though she was stripped naked, there was no sign of sexual assault, and investigators placed her time of death at approximately 24 hours before she was found. The medical examiner aided investigators' mission to identify the young girl. She was a white, non-smoking female estimated to be between 14 and 25 years old, but more than likely younger than 19. She had auburnish strawberry blonde hair, approximately 11 inches long. Her eyes have been reported as hazel blue or green. It is unknown which is accurate. She was small in stature, only 5 feet 2 inches tall and just over 100 pounds. Her pierced ears sported earrings and her nails were painted silver. Unfortunately, her body appeared to have been cleansed before she was dumped, washing away potential evidence. However, her killer couldn't wash away 2 potential clues, an amateur tattoo of the letter S on the inside of her upper right arm and a vaccination scar on her left bicep. But the biggest clue came from her dentals. Despite a visible gap between 2 of her upper right teeth and her intact wisdom teeth, the girl had extensive and expensive dental work done. Her radiographs revealed the remains of what is known as a suture, a procedure performed to promote healing following a dental surgery. Because of this, police believe the girl wasn't homeless or impoverished. Authorities took her fingerprints and DNA, released sketches, and aired television broadcasts on the case. They fully expected someone to come forward with a missing girl who matched their Jane Doe. They thought that she surely had a family, worried sick and looking for her. But they had no such luck, even after the University of North Texas developed her DNA profile and uploaded it to a national database. In addition to making no headway with their victim, they had 0 leads as to who killed her. Despite the lack of answers, the current lead investigator in the case, Joe Ebert, believes Jane Doe was from the greater Las Vegas area. But months passed with no tips, and investigators decided to bury their Jane Doe. Officer John Williams stepped up to pay for the funeral, saying, "We wanted a proper burial. She deserved it." Though hearts were heavy for the Henderson PD, Jane Doe motivated the department to push for a cold case unit. Mike Murphy, the former Clark County coroner, helped with this effort.
These cases, and maybe her case in particular, is the one that drives us forward, and she serves maybe a greater purpose at that point.
Murphy made a controversial decision for the early 2000s. He put the photos of the deceased and unidentified online for the public to see. The reasoning behind this? Murphy says full-time sketch artists are hard to come by with small department budgets, so photos of the dead serve as an accurate depiction of the victim. Arroyo Grande Jane Doe's picture was put online in 2004, but unfortunately, no one has come forward to identify her. But the project hasn't been in vain. Since 2002, the Cold Case Project brought closure to over 80 previously unidentified individuals. To those who still find the practice controversial, despite all the help it's done, John Williams says, "If you look on TV, you'll see worse than what you see in this photo. I'm sure things will offend people, but so be it. You got a young kid dumped in the desert. That's more than offensive." The young girl's identity remains a mystery, but that hasn't stopped people from theorizing. Obviously, with so few details available about the circumstances of Jane Doe's death, almost anything is possible. Jane Doe appeared to have a family, yet nearly 4 decades later, no one has come forward to identify her. Some believe this means that she was killed by a family member, perhaps her only family, or that she was in the foster care system, or a runaway. Some believe the S on her arm is a brand, that she was a prostitute killed by her pimp, or was kidnapped and fell victim to sex trafficking. Online sleuthers have even proposed that she was the victim of serial killer Stephen Peter Morin, who had 4 known victims, but is believed to have killed up to 48 in Texas, Colorado, and Nevada. His spree falls in line with the time of Jane Doe's death, but there's no evidence to support this, and Morin never claimed responsibility for the crime before his lethal injection in 1985. Jane Doe's murderer will continue to go unidentified until Jane herself reclaims her name. Over the years, authorities have hoped her remains held the key to that mystery, as she's been excavated 4 times, in 2002, 2003, 2009, and 2016. In collaboration with law enforcement, online sleuths passionate about Jane Doe's case have worked tirelessly to compile a list of possible identities for the young girl. Since her DNA and prints are available, sleuthers and authorities have been able to rule out 28 possibilities. Carla Corley from Alabama, Cindy Howman from Arizona, Sherilyn Mitchell, Australia, Terry Collier, Deborah Vowell, and Rebecca Dunn from California, Mary Frances Gregory from Canada, Kimberly Doss and Carol Roberts from Florida, Sandra Landrum from Georgia, Debbie McCall, Illinois, Melinda Creech, Indiana, Catherine Anderson from Maryland, Janet Kramer from Minnesota, Marilyn Milligan, Cheryl Schurer, and Rosie Schlicker, all from Missouri, Margaret Holst from Nebraska. 2 separate Sandra Butlers out of Nevada have been ruled out, along with Laureen Ron and Rachel Green from New Hampshire, Karen Zendrosky from New Jersey, Patricia Taylor from Oklahoma, Tammy Akers, Virginia, Angela Meeker and Diane Gilchrist from Washington, and Suzanne Schultz from Wisconsin. Then there is the opposing list compiled by sleuthers of missing girls that still remain a possibility. The user advocate at crimewatchers.net has kept track of the most extensive list, so most of these women are from their post, but some are from other web sleuth suggestions that haven't been ruled out yet as of the release of this video. In total, there are 18 names on the list, and keep in mind, Jane Doe may be one of these girls, but she may not be any of these girls either. Tony Kavanagh from Australia, Deborah Kidwell, Deborah Pacholka, Sherry Pickle, Patricia Gomez, and Kimberly Ann Collar, all from California, Janice Pocket from Connecticut, Tina Fey Kemp from Delaware, Sharon Emery from Indiana, Nadine Odell and Patricia Louise Zentner from Michigan, Cindy Brown from Minnesota, Brenda Crowley from New York, Anne Marie Ellenwood from Oregon, Star Joy Dodson from Pennsylvania, Trenny Gibson from Tennessee, and Christy Booth from Texas. The 18th name is one I wanted to highlight, as sleuthers have discussed it in more depth due to the similarities in appearance and possible inconsistencies in her case. Diana Ladine Munyon, according to the Charlie Project, disappeared from Fontana, California on May 1st, 1982. Jane Doe was found before that in 1980, but online theorists wonder if the date of her last known contact was entered incorrectly. It's happened before with cases that have so few details. All that is known is that she left her home in Mississippi in 1981 and contacted family on May 1st, 1982, allegedly from Fontana, California. There was a possibility she made her way to Las Vegas, Nevada, and is rumored to have often hitchhiked with truckers. What is odd is that Washington State Police are the official investigators of her disappearance. It's possible I missed something, but there seems to be no connection for Diana with Washington. Mississippi, California, and possibly Nevada, but not Washington. However, what's convinced some sleuthers is the striking resemblance to Jane Doe. Be forewarned, the image we're about to see is post-mortem and may disturb some viewers, but it is being used for comparison's sake. They appear to have similar noses, brow ridge, lips, and they were of the same ethnicity, approximate age, height, and weight. Diana even had a gap in her front teeth. There are a couple of key differences, however. Diana's eye color was reported as brown, the only color the Arroyo Grande Jane Doe's eyes weren't reported as. And though both had a gap in their teeth, from pictures it appears Diana's gap was on the left, while the Arroyo Grande Jane Doe's was on the right. The efforts of the online true crime community haven't gone unnoticed, but everyone involved knows that the only way to truly find Jane Doe's killer is to correctly identify the young, nameless woman, and that has yet to happen. Officer John Williams is a frequent visitor to the Palms Mortuary in Henderson, Nevada. He's taken on a sort of adoption role to the unnamed woman in the case that's haunted his law enforcement career. 36 years with the police force, and after retiring from the line of duty in 2010, the case rarely leaves John Williams' mind. He and his wife lay flowers on her headstone, which they also funded, every year on October 5th. They don't consider the young girl a stranger.
We come down all the time and put flowers just so she has someone that cares about her. She's like family to me.
John Williams may not be on the case anymore, but current Henderson PD Detective Joseph Ebert has taken over the case with enthusiasm, as it was reopened in 2015 on its 35th anniversary. Ebert said, "There's a family out there that, for 35 plus years, has no idea what happened to their daughter." After its reopening, the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children released new reconstructions of Jane Doe and released a full radiograph of her dentals in hopes local dentists might be able to help finally identify her. As of yet, 2 years later, there are no new leads. But, as Mike Murphy, the founder of the Cold Case Unit in Clark County, points out, hope is not lost.
Someone needs to come forward and help us give her her proper name, and in turn provide her with the justice that she deserves. People need to understand that it takes just one look at one picture by the right person, and the case starts all over again, and justice waits. It's waiting for us, and all we have to do is put all the pieces together.
Again, one of the images you are about to see is a post-mortem photograph used for the purpose of aiding in her identification. Use viewer discretion. The Arroyo Grande Jane Doe was found deceased on October 5th, 1980, and was believed to have died approximately 24 hours earlier. She had a gap in her front right teeth, had access to dental care, had a small S tattoo on her right forearm, and a vaccination scar on her left bicep. She is believed to be local to the area. She was viciously brutalized and stabbed with an unknown 2-pronged 3-inch blade. Anyone with information about Jane Doe's identity or the circumstances of her death should contact the Henderson Police Department at 702-267-1200 or the Clark County Office of the Coroner Medical Examiner at 702-455-6649. Special thanks to the Patreon family who financially contribute to this channel. Whether they are passionate about cases like Arroyo Grande Jane Doe's or the other dark content on this channel, their support cannot be overstated. If you are interested in supporting the channel, information is in the description, but even if you only continue to support by watching, thank you. Thank you for giving Jane Arroyo Grande Doe a moment of your time. No matter what you choose to believe or what you speculate, I ask you only for respect in the comments below. And though they called her Jane Doe, she deserves to reclaim her true name and deserves justice for her unjustified murder. Thank you for watching the video. Exposure to these cases is highly important. And to those of you who support this channel by watching, contributing, or buying merchandise, thank you. If you want to see other unsolved cases or dark content, be sure to subscribe to this channel. Stay safe, friends, and have a good night.